Please rise for the presentation of colors and remain standing until the colors are posted.
Please join us for the Pledge of Allegiance and remain standing for the singing of our national anthem.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Veterans, please be seated. OLHMS Principal, Dr. Sean McNichols.
Good morning, everyone.
Morning. Morning.
Good morning, everyone.
Morning.
That's so much easier when we start that way. Welcome everyone to Oakland Hometown Middle School. I am the very humble principal here, Dr. Sean Nichols, and welcome to our annual Veterans Day tribute. At Oakland Hometown Middle School, we do strive to create a dynamic and supportive environment for our scholars to help make their dreams become a reality. And this vision is not possible without the sacrifices of those that we celebrate and honor today. I'm so encouraged to know that all around us, we are surrounded by each of you as our heroes. Heroes who have left a positive impact on our entire nation. Moments like today, these small gestures that we can simply say thank you to each of you for, here in our District 123 at Oakland Hometown Middle School, we just want to say thank you to all of our heroes that we have in person today with us, those watching us virtually, or those that are cemented in our hearts. Veterans Day is a national holiday. It's designed to honor the individuals who represent our country and the armed forces. And we could not be more excited to share our space with some of you today. This morning, I'm honored to have the opportunity to welcome such distinguished guests all around us here today. And also blessed to have the opportunity to welcome and thank a couple of the most influential veterans in my life. My father, Timothy McNichols, who served in the Navy, is here today. And my uncle Ken McNichols, who also served in the Navy, was able to make it today too. It brings me great pleasure just to thank them in person, to take that moment. These are two great men that have not only served me in my life very well, but have done an amazing job in serving our nation. And this is my chance to tell you guys I love you. Thank you very much for being there. I appreciate you both. To all of our staff members, thank you for educating another generation of citizens who will one day bear the responsibility of protecting our great country. Following the footsteps of these impactful individuals, we lovingly remember and honor this morning. To our scholars, perhaps without realizing it right now in this moment, scholars, you're honoring the heroism of a band of people who believe in the notion of a greater good, protecting those who cannot protect themselves, and preserving the freedoms that have made this great country, state, town, and our school a remarkable place to live, learn, and serve. I hope, and it is with my hope, that each of you take the lessons of all of these wise souls sharing our space today and those around our community to steer your life in the direction that one day finds you in the seat of honor, surrounded by our grateful nation, all gathered together to call you a hero who's had a positive impact. That is our mission here at the school. To those staff members, volunteers, and our incredible band, of course, behind us, can you believe these are just middle school students? To each of you and all of our ambassadors that have been helping create this special occasion this morning, we thank you for the truly overwhelming experience that we get to share in this morning in this well-deserved celebration of our veterans. To each of our special guests sitting with us today, we simply thank you for your time. The gift of time can go without words, and we thank you for spending these moments with us this morning. Finally, to our veterans, we thank you for allowing us to hold on to the optimistic belief in the great American hero. You're all larger than life to each of us, and our appreciation absolutely goes without words. And we hope you can take this time today to understand how much all of us sitting in this space and watching virtually appreciate each and every one of you. Would our veterans please do us the favor of standing so we can recognize, celebrate, and give you a huge round of applause. Veterans, would you please mind standing? Finally, we hope that everyone is able to enjoy this small gesture to the American heroes among us and watching us virtually. Veterans, we truly appreciate your service and sacrifice. We are inspired by your bravery and heroism. Thank you so much for joining us this morning and spending your time with each of us at Oklahoma. designated scholars, Spencer McCarthy and Jacob Wade. Thank you very much.
When you see someone in a uniform, someone who serves us all, doing military duty, answering their country's call, take a moment to thank them for protecting what you hold dear. Tell them that you are proud of them. Make it very clear. Just tap them on the shoulder, give a smile and say, thanks for what you're doing to keep us safe in the USA. We would like to thank and recognize the veterans here with us today. If you are able to, please stand when you hear your name called. Audience, please hold your applause until all names from that branch of the military are called. From the Air Force, George Stangel, Alfredo Arvizu, Don Wilson Robbins, Ronald Falai, Michael Alexander, Robert W. Snyder, William Gallagher, John Bertucci, Jordan Townsend, Ariel Rodriguez, Nelson Hernandez. From the Marines, Don Mundo, David Aparicio, Marcus Lara, Sergeant Michael Collins, Anna Gallagher, William Worthy, Leroy Pickett, Manuel Santoy, Katia Rodriguez, Elder Rodriguez, Ethan Lopez, Scott Jones, Bruno Lipdate, Roosevelt Price, Lou Dominguez, Mike Sutcombe. From the Navy, Gerald Fryland, Carlos Vasquez, John Vasquez, Richard Bauman, David Zelenik, Andy Swire, Steve Berkland, Robert V. Snyder, Douglas J. Rogers, Moises Perez Cortez, Maria Scruggs, Tim McNichols, Ken McNichols, Gerald Vedder, Ryan Baxter, George Pine. From the U.S. Coast Guard, Martin J. McLaughlin. From the Army National Guard, Specialist Kyle Swenson.
Now from the Army branch, we have Sergeant John McNamara, James P. Narbo, Paul Marietta, Richard Lumen, Bryant Reed, John Howard, Dave Ramirez, Tony Smirty, Michael Heverin, David Smith, Terry Warder, Melissa Betancourt, Veronica Gonzalez, Steve Iman, Sergeant Lena Aguilar, Ken Lang, Morum Mostandona, Joseph Fleck, Joseph T. Bishop, Joseph Minnick Sr., Daniel Acosta, Dennis Frederickson, Jim Bertucci, Bruce Browski, John Turner, Robert Cruza, Noe Tapia, Alejandro Verdal, Joseph Kostelnik, David Leone, Christopher Olson, Jose Sotelo, Jose M. Zavala, Jermaine Lumpkin, Danielle Johnson, James Corolla, Robert Mallow, Paul Yeager, Kevin J. Kriska, Joseph Grimes Jr., Jose Ramirez, Glenn Zach, Zach Riddle, William Brennan, Chris Slater, Joseph Hill, Aaron Hill, William Horsey, Mark West, and John Farrar. Now, at this time, if your name wasn't called, please stand to be recognized today.
The United States Marine Corps.
From the halls of Montezuma to the shores of Tripoli, we will fight our country's battles on the air, on land and sea. First to fight for rights and freedom, and to keep our honor clean. We
have the pleasure of introducing our next guest. With a service-focused career, United States Army, 1st Infantry Division, retired Oaklawn Police, Chief of Patrol, and the current Mayor of Oaklawn. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Terry Warder.
Boy, am I impressed these young kids can get all these names right. I'm a politician and I always struggle with pronouncing everybody's names. Students of this fine educational institution, Oaklawn Hometown Middle School. I want you to pay close attention to the honor and the respect these people, these men and women, get for serving this country. Keep it in your mind as you go through your life and you make educational choices after high school. The military is a wonderful option, okay, before you move on in your life. Not only will it provide you with a sense of pride your entire life, but it will also provide you with great benefits. And I want you to keep that in mind as you decide after high school where you're going to go with your education in your life. I always say, I was educated in the jungles of Vietnam. That was my college education. But when I came home, I truly went to college paid for by the United States government because of my service. I had no debt, and I got a college education. So I want you people to keep that in mind. I want to recognize some of our dignitaries here. We have State Rep Kelly Burke, not only our state rep, but the mayor of Evergreen Park, my sister community. And we have our mayor from hometown, Kevin Casey, another sister community, and his police chief. Paul Mallow, our trustee here in the 3rd District, which is where this school is located in this lovely white dam. We got our fire chief here. And if I missed anybody, I truly apologize. But of course, I want to thank the entire school and its staff for putting this together, to educate your students on the service of this country and pay honor for you men and women standing in front of our city in front of me, okay, who gave so much to this country. As the Oaklawn mayor, I'm honored and humbled to be standing before you on this Veterans Day commemoration. And I think it's my privilege as the mayor to speak for the 60,000 of our residents when I say thank you for your service to America. And I particularly want to thank our World War II veterans. These are special commodities these days. We are honored to have Sergeant Joe Fleck, who will be one of our speakers here. You know, the American experience today is kind of unique because we have rarely experienced enemy on our soil or at our gates. Our citizens do not live in fear of atrocities or the violence of a conflict or a war. Like so many others around the world are experiencing today, Ukraine being the big one today. We have to keep them in our prayers. It's important to protect democracies wherever they exist in America. And we have the military men and women to thank for that. Over the centuries and all the conflicts we've seen, they never give up the fight. They fight for the decency of a good democracy. And keep that in mind as we move forward. And for all the soldiers and first responders who have paid the ultimate sacrifice of their lives, and they have left this earthly life for their heavenly rewards. Remember them when they play the taps today at the end of this ceremony. Again, I want to thank the hometown school, Oaklawn Hometown School, and its staff for recognizing the importance of educating our children on the sacrifices people have made to keep and preserve our American values. God bless America. Thank you.
next guest, someone who had approached us at the end of last year's assembly, wondering why he didn't get a chance to speak. But we are more than happy to offer that opportunity this year. So ladies and gentlemen, World War II veteran, Mr. Joseph Fleck.
Thank you, Terry, for recognizing me. I have to tell you something about Terry. Terry also was a commander from the Disabled American Veterans. He was a disabled veteran. Thanks, Terry. I look at all the students here. You're the new future of our country. Take good care of it. You've got a big job ahead of you. I can talk all day long. I love to talk. I'm going to tell you a joke first. I sat at the park. I sat down on a bench, and an elderly man sat next to me, and he said, "Do you know how old I am?" I said, "Yes, I do." He said, "You know who I am?" I said, "Yes." "You really know how old I am?" I said, "Yes." "How old am I?" I said, "You're 89 years old." "How did you know?" "John, you told me yesterday." That's a break. We have to break you up once in a while. I joined it. I was drafted. I finally got to become best sergeant in Fort Knox, Kentucky, and also in Fort Meade, Maryland. I was sent overseas as a replacement. They handed me a rifle and told me, "You are now in the infantry." And I had no idea what that meant, because I never took an infantry training. But I soon found out. Mechanized infantry, the 4th Armored Division, the division that helped rescue the men from the 101st Airborne at Bastogne in the Battle of Bulge in the Ardennes, where the snow was so deep and it was freezing. It was terrible. We had a hell of a job. And who brought us there was General Patton, old blood and guts himself. Wow. I saw him one time, and he was driving by on a Jeep, and he says, "Give him hell." And that was it. We gave him hell too. So now we bring you from that era to February 23rd, 1945. Very important day in my life. Also, in the Pacific, they raised the flag at Iwo Jima that certain day. And we've all seen that. That certain day in Europe now, we made an attack. Early in the morning, our attack was to relieve the town of Koblenz. So we took a little town before it was a breakup at nighttime. It was a night attack. We took this little town, and we were just getting things together. All the men were starting to warm, and incoming 81 millimeter mortar. And it hit amongst us. And and it put me to the ground, the concussion. And I got splattered with a lot of shrapnel. And that was that day, February 23rd, 1945. So every time I see the Marines lift the flag up, it reminds me they were doing it for me. I had a good I had a good life in the Army, but I didn't know where I was going or what I was doing. I spent 3 months in the hospital in Paris. A 20-year-old, well, a good-looking kid in Paris. Can you imagine this? Ooh la la. What a time I had. It's not all fighting and stuff like this. We had some good times. We had some wonderful times. It's not all bad. And all you kids, you have to remember, whatever you do it for your good. Like Terry said, get your education. It's your future. Thanks a lot for the few minutes that I had to talk. Like I said, I can talk all day.
Thank you, Mr. Black. Each year, OLHMS is proudly partnered with our local Johnson Phelps VFW for their nationwide Patriot Pens writing competition. This year's theme was My Pledge to Our Veterans, and it gave students an opportunity to reflect on what we can do for the people who have done so much for us. 7th grader Aiden Zach would like to share his essay with all of you and his grandfather, who is in the audience today.
When you think of a hero, who do you think of? For me, I think of the veterans that served for. When you think of a hero, who do you think of? For me, I think of the veterans that served for our country and fought to protect our rights and freedoms. To honor all veterans, I pledge to make the most of my life sincere as yours and to dedicate my life to your legacy. To ensure your sacrifices were made in vain, I pledge to make the most of my life sincere as yours. One way that I can make sure this happens is to never forget what you did for us. If everyone remembered what you sacrificed for the opportunities we have now, we would be motivated to take every opportunity we have. I know what it means to see you for people to always remember what you did to protect our rights and freedom. My grandfather is a veteran, and he always shares what he went through during Vietnam. It is crazy that you risked everything to protect the homes and safety of millions. You never gave up fighting for our country, so I pledge to dedicate my life to your legacy. I will make sure this happens by never settling for something that I know I can do better, because you never settled for what we had. You continued fighting so that we can improve. If everyone had what you risked in mind, we could achieve greatness, and no one would want to take it for granted. A quote that reminds me of this is, honor the soldier and sailor everywhere, who bravely bears his country's cause. Honor also the citizen who cares for his brother in the field and serves, as he best can, the same cause. This quote comes to mind because you should be remembered by all for the risk you took to protect our country. In conclusion, you have risked so much for us, and you deserve for everyone to honor and remember what you have done. I will honor our veterans by pledging to make the most of my life and dedicating my life to your legacy. Thank you.
I'm sure you have all heard of Honor Flight and the amazing work that they do. The mission of Honor Flight is to celebrate America's veterans by inviting them to share in the Day of Honor in our nation's memorials. A nation where all Americans veterans experience the honor, gratitude, and community of support they deserve. Two gentlemen are here today from Honor Flight Chicago, Sergeant Michael Collins, Marines, and James Corolla, Army.
Good morning. I'd like to thank you and Mrs. Ryan for inviting Jim and I to talk to you about the Honor Flight. Jim and I were asked to speak to you about the experience we had on July 20th, Honor Flight Chicago Operation Education. And as was just described, I'd like to explain what the Honor Flight is about. Their goal is to say thank you to our veterans who may not have received a welcome when they return home. They are a nonprofit organization dedicated to fly veterans with all expenses paid to Washington, D.C. for the day with honor, thanks, and inspiration. The Honor Flight Chicago is comprised of volunteers, and it was amazing the organization that this group of volunteers did to process us through Midway Airport and onto the flight to D.C. Our flight consisted of 111 veterans, 2 from World War II, 4 from the Korean War, and 105 Vietnam veterans. Each veteran was assigned a guardian for the day. I will get into that later, but I will let Jim talk about his experience for the day.
Hello, thank you for having us. My experience, we got to the airport at 4 o'clock in the morning, but the emotional part of the day started in Washington, D.C. when we landed and the people welcomed us all through the airport. Outside, we had a motorcade of police taking us through the city. We passed the White House, Arlington National Cemetery, the Pentagon, and then we went to the World War II Museum, which was great. We went to the Vietnam Memorial and the Korean War Memorial, and we ended up in an airport museum, which we got to see the space shuttle. We saw Enola Gay. We saw a lot of the space capsules that actually went up in the flight. It was an emotional day, and then we returned to Chicago. They gave us a picture that was taken at the memorial with all of us. That was printed already. They gave us a book on all the different sites we saw. It was a wonderful day, and we landed in Chicago, and walking through the airport, it was just unbelievable. The welcome we got all the way through until we got to our families in the baggage claim. It was one of the best days of my life.
So since our flight theme was Operation Education, the volunteer guardians were teachers and high school students. So I want to tell you about my experience and with my guardian, who was a 8th grade social studies teacher in a middle school in Batavia. Her name is Julia. She was a volunteer, but only in the airport. She never went as a guardian. I could tell she was apprehensive at first about the flight, because she told me numerous times on this that her mentor prodded her into going on this flight because it was Operation Education. But once the activity started and moving us to the gate, she was excited about the trip. She was outstanding, and she knew that Jim and I were friends and were on this flight together. There were times that Jim and I had separated, but she would locate him and bring us together so that we could share this experience together. It was a hot, humid, 96-degree day in Washington, D.C. She made sure that I had water, Gatorade, and a wheelchair, which I sometimes refused because I was in rain, but I did need a couple of times because it was hot. But she was truly my guardian angel that day. On the bus trips to different locations, as Jim was saying, in D.C., we shared stories about our family, her school, her students, my experience in the Marine Corps in Vietnam. And at the end of the day, when we returned to Midtown, she told me she was glad that she went on this flight. And what a wonderful experience it was, and she can't wait to share it with her students. Julie and I stay in contact with each other through text messaging. And then just to continue on, what I received when she sent to me was this book that she made up. Of our day. So I was overwhelmed and about her generosity and her friendship. And as I said, to this day, we stay in contact. All I can say, the honor flight was more than I expected, and I was overwhelmed with the experience. And all I can say is, and I see a gentleman here who has an honor flight shirt on, that if you haven't applied or you need to apply, because you will not be disappointed. And I see from the school, the body here and the teachers, your enthusiasm for veterans. They do have a program for teachers. It's called Operation Education, and for the students, it's called Climb. I'm sure they wouldn't mind, or you being voluntary, and I can guarantee it won't disappoint you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Collins and Mr. Corolla. Oakland Hometown Middle School continues to be honored at Richards High School, NJROTC. A fearless leader who joins us year after year. With a long list of impressive and inspirational achievements. Ladies and gentlemen, Senior Naval Science Instructor, Commander Doug Rollins.
Gotta love technical difficulties. Want me to break up the morning, let us relax for a second here. And we're gonna grab a new microphone. Start real loud.
Sure, I'll start real loud. It's good to be here today. This is my 20th year of teaching high school. And I can say that it's been a wonderful second career. I'd like to acknowledge the students that are here today. Our Cadet Company Commander, Abigail Schrody, our Cadet Athletic Officer, Brianna Paparelli, Cadet Supply Officer, Rachel Snyder, and our other cadets that are here are Cadet Wiley Hill, Leonel Flores, Sophia Marone, Nora Silva, Valeria Martinez, Sean Shaughnessy, Kathleen Bowe, and Emily Schrody. And all of them are graduates of this school.
And I have had the honor of working with several of them one of them in particular, for over 3 years. And some of them are brand new to our program this year. They just graduated from this prestigious institution last year. And so I love working with young adults and providing mentorship for them. That's my calling. And prior to that, I served in the Navy for for 25 years as a surface warfare officer for 5 years, and then a meteorology and oceanographic officer or METOC officer for 17 years. So I'm here to talk to mostly the students and help you guys to have a little bit of a sense of why when you meet a veteran or you talk to a veteran or you see a veteran that that you should just take pause to thank them for their service. So we just finished watching in one of my classes a movie that was made quite a few years ago called Master and Commander. And it's a fascinating movie about a British ship called the Surprise. And it goes from Great Britain and it sails all the way to the coast of South America. And the orders for the commanding officer of the ship are to find another ship. How do you find another ship all the way across the ocean, right? But that was their orders. Find another ship, a French ship, and if possible, capture it or destroy it. Those were the two options. And so the movie's about the commanding officer and his attempt to do this, which he is successful in the end. He has a friend on the ship who's a doctor. The doctor decides to come on board with his friend, the commanding officer, to help the crew. And the doctor's kind of a naturalist sort of person too. So they have this friendship, and the challenge is this. What's more important? Loyalty to the state, loyalty to the crown, or loyalty to my friend? Should I do what my orders say to do, keep tracking the ship down, or should I do what my friend wants me to do, which is maybe go back home, or maybe stay in the Galapagos Islands for longer than a couple days because I'm a naturalist and I want to see all of these crazy animals on the Galapagos Islands. And so there's this conflict throughout the whole movie about loyalty to the state or to the crown, or loyalty to my friend. And this whole idea of love of country or love for my friend. In the end, what ends up happening is his friend, the doctor, gets wounded. He actually gets shot by one of the Marines on the ship who's trying to shoot an albatross and misses and hits the doctor. And so now the captain has to decide, do I pursue this ship that they're racing after, or do I, and let my friend die, by the way, because he would die, or do I go back to land and try to take the bullet out of this person and not on a ship that's moving like this, because he was the doctor. So in the end, he does what he believes is the right thing. He saves his friend's life. And in doing so, he has now a doctor who can take care of everybody else who gets hurt when he does catch up to the French ship too. So it's kind of interesting how the story comes around. But loyalty and love, two very, very important things. So when we started today, you all stood up and we did the Pledge of Allegiance, right? To the flag of the United States of America. And what's our flag stand for? What's our flag stand for? It stands for the republic that we live in, right? It stands for the rules that we live by that were spelled out in the Constitution and are spelled out in the Constitution of the United States, right? To the republic for which it stands. One nation under God. You ever wonder what that means? He's up there, or under him. A nation under God. What does that mean? It means that our nation is based on some things that we believe to be timeless. Okay? Things like the moral high ground. Things that are absolute, things that don't change. Okay? Our country is based on those things, and our Constitution is based on those things. Freedom to say what I think. Okay? Freedom to bear arms. Freedom to have a faith in whatever God I choose to have a faith in. And there's a lot of countries where that doesn't work that way. If you step up and say, this is what I believe, you might not live another day in some countries. But not here. stands for. But there's another reason for that. The reason is because if that way of life, if our republic is threatened, we have the ability, and we choose to have the ability, to defend ourselves. Do you ever wonder why we haven't had a war here in this country since the Civil War, really? Ever wonder that? There's a reason for it. It's because after the Civil War, our country decided we don't ever want to see that happen again. And we're going to create a military force such that when we come into conflict with other countries, we're not going to allow them to bring the fight to us. We're going to take the fight to them. And so, people who volunteer for the military, they do things from two different perspectives. Number one, they join with the understanding that they are going to raise their hand and they're going to say that I'm going to support and defend the Constitution of the United States against all enemies, foreign and domestic. And I'll bear true faith and allegiance to the same. And when push comes to shove, I'm going to push and I'm going to shove. But I'm not going to do that here. I'm going to do that on the other guy's territory. And that's why our sailors and our soldiers and our Marines and our Coast Guardsmen and our Air Force airmen go overseas. We go somewhere else to fight because we don't want you to have to fight. We don't want you to have to run, and we don't want you to have to hide. That's what we do. And the interesting thing is, these people here that you see that stood up, they demonstrate by their service to our country the greatest measure of loyalty that there can be. Because they choose to be loyal to an ideal, to a code, and they choose to do it such that if it means I have to die, then so be it. I'll do that. We don't want to, but that's what we say we'll do. And when you think about this other idea of love, right? These guys don't really realize this, but I was thinking about this earlier this morning, is when you join the military, did you know that you're trained to love? You're trained to love because you're trained to do what probably the person who has the greatest example of that in history says is the greatest example of love, which is to lay down your life for your friend. And that's what you're trained to do in the military, aren't you? We're trained that if we need to, we save our guy next door, we save our buddy, we save the guy who we're fighting with. And we recognize that in the military. We call it the Medal of Honor. It's the greatest award that you can receive in the military, is the Medal of Honor. For somebody who, in actions against the enemy, has either died and sacrificed for their friends, or maybe they didn't die, but they did some incredibly heroic things to protect the friends around them who they were fighting with. So, as I leave you, I want you to think about that. Think about what kind of a friend am I? How loyal am I to my friends, to my school, to my country? And when push comes to shove, will I do the right thing? Thank you.
This table symbolizes that they are with us here in spirit. The table is round and set for one, showing our everlasting concern for our fallen comrades. The tablecloth is white, symbolizing the purity of their motives when answering the call to duty. The single red rose displayed in the vase reminds us of the life of each of the missing and their loved ones and friends of these Americans who keep the faith, awaiting answers. The vase is tied with the yellow ribbon, representing loyalty and waiting for those who are away from home. A slice of lemon with a pinch of salt is to remind us of the bitter fate of those captured and missing in a foreign land. It symbolizes the tears endured by those missing and their families who seek answers. The glass is inverted to symbolize their inability to share an evening's toast. The candle reminiscent of the light of hope which lives in our hearts to light the way home. The chair is empty. They are missing. We are compelled to never forget that while we enjoy our daily pleasures, there are others who have endured the agonies of pain, deprivation, and death. Let us take a moment and give God to those who have paid the ultimate price for our nation.
We would like to pay a special recognition to all the veterans who are no longer with us. Our own family would like to especially recognize the following individuals: Norm Lansman, James Harrington, Robert Newton Smith Sr., Robert Smith Jr., Harold Sawyer, Norman Sawyer, Ralph Sawyer, John Quinn, Edmund Stengel, John Stengel, Robert Stengel, John Cunningham, Tom Cunningham, Robert Sutton, William Kennedy, Jack Forrest Jr., Robert Hogan Sr., Joseph Ramada, Clarence Buckwall, Bill Wagner, Jane C. Dillard, John Gallagher, Stanley Klashevsky, Edward Poroznik, Edwin Flood, Claude Brill, Sam G. Newsel, and Sam G. Newsel Jr., William Knorr, Frank Knorr, Joseph Knorr, William Jones, Dale E. Jones, Edward Black, Richard Best, Sylvester Malasina, John Knowles, John McCarthy, Charles Weber, Patrick Broderick, Michael Norfolk, Richard Lockfield, Kurt Ogene, Steve Wackowitz, Peter Robo, John Crackus Sr., Robert McNichols, Patrick Fox, William Sarthur, Arthur Broadco, Renee W. Julian, Peter Post, Earl Talon, Roger Trinstra, Karen Nicole Clifton, Michael Tahini, Robert Bowman, Francesca Velez, Vanessa Gillian, Gregory Scott Morales, Alex B. Martinez, Rich Bukowski, Alvin E. Philwalk, Vito Zandi, Thomas Goodell, Sr., Thomas Patrick Wills, Jason Rogers, and Charles B. Scott. Ladies and gentlemen, I would like to introduce Army veteran Mr. Steve Ibben.
Thank you again for being here. We ask that our guests, our veterans, remain seated while we dismiss our scholars first. Teachers on this side, if you don't mind exiting that door, and teachers over on this side, if you don't mind taking the scholars out this door. Thank you so much. Great job, students.